Hello, welcome back to November, the power of no. I hope you had a joyous uh, vacation and holiday with Thanksgiving and gratitude for your time together with those you love. We're back today with episode 19, which is titled Saying No to Bigger is Always Better. Um, I am a part of a couple women's networking groups that I absolutely adore. I have made some tremendous friends through them. I have received some wonderful encouragement and friendships from them. But there's one thing that I always find with almost any networking group I've been a part of, and that's that so often the only message seems to be grow your business. And there's nothing wrong with growing your business. But it seems we're always exhorted to get bigger. It happens in all of life. We're told our child athlete must continue to compete in bigger, and read that as more expensive leagues, or we must always be moving up the corporate ladder or expanding our business and getting new locations. It even happens in churches where it's just always about getting bigger. But why do we have to get bigger? Why do we have to do more? It's usually with business anyway, about income. And with almost anything, in a lot of cases, it's about ego. Now, I understand about using your gifts and talents effectively, and that could be part of it as well. But ego so often is involved, even for churches. I mean, I remember Les and I used to go to these pastors' conventions, and the first questions some pastors would ask each other is, how big is your church? How much have you grown in the last year? That's about ego. That has nothing to do with the ministry of your church. But what I want us to think about today is, have we counted the cost of getting bigger? Let me use this illustration. So, a family decides to open a family ice cream shop. They're going to run it as a family. They're going to make their own ice cream. They're going to have this great experience together as a family. And they do. And it is wildly successful. People are coming out, coming in the doors at all hours, to buy their ice cream, loving the experience. They're having a great time running it. And the first thing people begin to encourage them to do is to expand, open a second location, start franchising after time. And suddenly that family's fragmented. They're going in different directions. They're working all the time. They're busy adding on more and more staff. I worked for a guy once, did some freelance writing work for him, who had his own private business as a graphic designer. And then he began to add people because, he got more clients and people were like, you need to add more people. He eventually sold it all off and left because he said, you know what? I don't want to be involved in all those other things, hiring staff, worrying about human relations and resources and all of those other parts of his function and dealing with people's performance. We get to decide. We do. We get to decide whether we want to grow our business, our relationships, our families, our kids' sports events, our churches. We get to decide that. And I think first we need to count the cost. What are we going to lose? It might be family time, it might be rest, it might be the chance to invest time in our community or our church. I have a friend who recently just retired from her job at a very young age because she decided she'd worked long enough and wanted to invest in her community, in nonprofits, and in caring for others. For churches, if you grow bigger and bigger, what do we lose? We lose the intimate connections. You lose the ability to know everyone. I'm not saying that every big church is bad, but at least think through the cost of what you're doing. Before you grow your business just because everyone is telling you to, before you put your kid on that travel team because everyone is telling you he has to or she has to, count the cost. What are the costs financially, relationally, emotionally, and spiritually for you to grow bigger? And then decide, Is it worth the stress that comes from choosing to grow? See, we get to decide. We get to decide that we don't want to grow. It too is a way to go against the flow. You know, there is a holy beauty to doing small things faithfully. There's the beauty of people who will never be known, never be famous, but have invested their lives in others. And we get to choose how we're making those investments. So choose wisely. Know that you can say no to bigger is always better. And be brave enough to do so when you've counted the cost. I hope to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last broadcast of November since it's the last day of November, and we're going to talk about saying no so that it opens up the opportunities to say yes. See you then. Have a great rest of your day.